Australia overnight, the festive time is here. Food, family, and fun. Overindulging is part of the fun at this time of year. And naturopath and gut health expert Helena Davis joins us now. Hello, Helena.
Hello, Pat. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for joining us on the program. Now, gut health. I've heard so much about this in recent times. So tell me about the gut. Is it the centre of our universe as far as your body goes?
It sure is in a lot of ways. So we have over 100 times microbes in our gut than we actually have cells in our body. So this is all new research that's happened over the last, I'd say, 10 to 20 years. There's been a lot more emphasis on the gut and the way these little bugs in our system interact with us as a organ, they're saying.
Right, so it's a lot more important than we realised in the past, your gut health.
Much, much more important. They used to think it was very isolated, but it works like an organ in itself, and they can affect our gut as well as our mood, our energy, our heart, our immune system, cholesterol levels. So, they're kind of important.
Yeah. So temptation, what advice can you give us when we have all this wonderful food temptation to make sure our gut's okay?
Yeah, good question. I get asked this a lot in clinic. So at the end of the day, food is your medicine or your friend or your foe. So it really depends upon the choices that you make. So it's that few seconds in our mouth versus, feeling crap for the next few days. So it really comes down to a choice that you make and I guess knowing what you should eat as well in so many ways. So a good rule of thumb that I tell clients is aiming for a good portion of protein and vegetables with each of your meals. So a good source of protein would be from your animal meat, so that would be 1 palm-sized portion of animal meat like chicken, fish or red meat, or if you're vegetarian, looking at about double that of legumes or tofu, tempeh, that sort of thing. Protein's really important for your building blocks, and it also helps to reach satiety level in your body, which means if you don't eat enough of that, then you're going to be hungry. You can eat as many carbs as you want or starches and fats and that, and you'll still be hungry after your meal. So that's your building blocks. That's what's really important for your satiety levels. And then we've got to balance that with bringing through your vegetables. So that's where your fibre and your resistant starch and that comes in. And we're aiming for, say, 2 to 3 handfuls with each meal, so lunch and dinner. So if you're sitting around the Christmas table, aim to get into that salad or the cooked roast vegetables. They are good for you, particularly the resistant starch when they cool down. And just aim for different colours if we can, those rainbow effects.
So it sounds like it's sort of that healthy food advice we've been getting for a long time. So we're just learning more about how it affects your gut. So the choices are very similar. Are you making any different choices? I mean, what's bad for your gut? What should you keep away from?
So the big things that come through for a lot of people, and it's a lot to do with we've got so many processed foods nowadays versus, say, in the 1980s where a lot of things were actually just manufactured and the food industry's changed a lot. I think the sugar content in a lot of people's foods and the actual bread amount that they eat is a lot higher than what it's been in the past. And it's just easy. It's a quicker, fast-paced lifestyle now, so people want that quick substance that they can just grab off the shelf or buy in the shop and just go. A bit like if you're sitting around the table, if you start craving carbohydrates, then you'll have some bread, and the more you actually eat that bread, the more that your body sends a chemical to your brain called dopamine that actually makes you want to eat more of this bread. So, it's not just about, hey, I'm craving that. It's about what your body's doing chemically in response to these foods as well.
Right. So is it a bit about understanding your own body, sort of testing and learning as you go, sort of eating something and thinking, well, this is not agreeing with me, I've got to keep away from it? Or is it more generic, it affects lots of people the same way?
I think it affects different people differently, and I talk a little bit about blood type in my program as well and in my consultations as well. And, O blood types, we generally are better with a paleo sort of based diet, so that's your meat, veggie, and grains, and not too much in the way of actual gluten and dairy. It can disrupt your energy and your gut as well. A blood types do better on more carbohydrates.
Oh, okay.
And more a vegetarian sort of diet, staying away from red meats. and more focusing on white meats or fish if they're going to eat it. Otherwise, they can actually get blocked up. And then B blood types are the opposite. They do really well on dairy and red meats and not well on white meats.
Right. So do you need to know your blood type,
well.
Helena, as you sit at the Christmas table? Do you need to know your blood type? Should I come and see you first and get a blood test?
Well, it's good to do it. Your doctor can just organise it for you through Medicare as part of your next test that you ever do. Or if you donate blood, you'll always get a card as well. So I think genetically it's good to know, because then you start sort of understanding, well, what are the better foods for my system as well? And honestly, that applies about 90% of the time, I would say, blood types, because then you've got that small percentage of people that, hey, they do really well on something that's included in that plan, but then others, don't. So
okay.
It's a general rule. You can't say one diet applies to everyone. I never agree with that.
Yeah. What about the signs? Is it just bloating? Any signs that your gut needs a bit of attention?
Yeah, so signs can be things like as soon as you eat, you might get gut pain. So gut pain can be upper gut, so just under where your sternum is. That's about where your stomach is, so just under where your ribs sort of start, in the middle of your abdomen. That's your stomach over to the left. And then if you've got pain there as soon as you eat, that's usually related to your upper digestion. And then if you have pain maybe 30 to 60 minutes after you eat, that's more your lower gut. So that's about where your belly button is, down the bottom of your belly. So gut pain's definitely a warning sign. You might get acid reflux or heartburn, so that's related to your upper gut being out of whack. You might get bloating, so that's distension of your belly out, and some people get it from the top of the abdomen and others get it lower, and some people get it both.
Right. And the only way, so if you have those signs, the only way to fix it is what you're putting into the your mouth, your munching cave.
Oh, you reckon?
What you're eating. Is that right? No, I'm asking the question. Question mark. So
no, not always.
Not always. Oh.
No, because I mean,
you're the expert. Sorry.
You are what you absorb rather than you are what you eat. So that comes down to how someone's actual gut's working, how their digestion's working. Are they actually able to absorb things, or are things going straight through their system? Some people have chronic inflammation throughout their body, and they can't absorb stuff, and they end up with loose bowels all the time. Someone else, might not have the right level of digestive enzymes, like upper or lower enzymes. So then again, they're really struggling to absorb what they eat. And you could be eating the best diet ever, but you're not going to absorb it. So what's the point?
Unless
you really fix your gut as well.
Now, it also affects your mood, doesn't it? I mean, this time of year, we spoke about this off air. It's a stressful time in family and some, feelings of loneliness or isolation. So what you're consuming can also affect that as well. Yeah,
definitely. And so things like, you've got your serotonin foods like oats or banana, and they're really good to help improve your mood. And then you've got some foods that, unlike your high sugary foods, you can crave more and more of it, and that chemical release from your brain, dopamine, makes you want to crave more of it as well.
Right.
And then you can end up feeling a bit crappy because you've eaten too much, you feel a bit sluggish, if you're not burning it, that is. And then if you've got something like a yeast overgrowth or something, you actually crave sugars as well. That's a chemical thing again that happens in your body.
It's easy. We're sitting here and there's all the indulgence and we're saying all the right things, Helena, but I guess... do you need to take it, not be too hard on yourself and take it phase by phase if you overindulge? You're talking about being addicted to sugar. You're not going to change it overnight. Do you just slowly make steps in the right direction?
Yeah, no, good question. So you've got to think, well, why am I addicted to sugar? Is it a psychological thing? Is it a habit? Is there something wrong, like a nutritional deficiency? For example, chromium. A lot of people that are craving sugars all the time, particularly around that 3 p.m. mark, are actually very low in a mineral called chromium. And as soon as they start supplementing with that, their cravings just disappear. A lot of the time in clinic, I send away for people's stool tests and we get it back and they've got a yeast overgrowth. So naturally, as soon as we start addressing that for them and putting them on the slightly restricted diet they need to go on for a little bit, naturally, again, their sugars cravings actually diminish. So I'd be sort of questioning why you're getting them. Like sugar every now and again, no problem if your gut's balanced, if your gut flora are right. But if you're going to be eating it all the time and you're not running a marathon or a triathlon or something and really burning up those sugars, they can end up causing inflammation through your body. They can end up spiking your cholesterol, not being a really good food source for your gut flora, I would say.
Okay.
So everything in moderation is what I'm saying.
There you are. There's the takeaway. Everything in moderation. Another quick question. If I do overindulge, if I don't take your advice and I grab the chocolates and I have a bit of liqueur and sort of, eat too much, what's the best thing to do the very next day just to get myself back on track for my gut? What's the first thing I do when I get up in the morning?
What would I do? That's the question.
Go for a walk? Have a glass of water?
I reckon what I would do is have a glass of warm water. So it's got to be warmed, about the same temperature as your body. So half boil the jug and either put half a lemon squeezed into the water or say about 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar and then about half a teaspoon of bicarb soda just to help alkalinize your body as well. Right. Do that on an empty stomach as soon as you wake up and just let it settle. Don't eat anything for at least an hour, and that'll really get things processing through, support your energy, and just help to rebalance everything again.
You mentioned about not eating for an hour. The fasting, this intermittent fasting that is become a thing, is that good for your gut? Just having a nice break? That's a whole nother topic. And we've run out of time too, Helena.
I know it's very good for you.
Oh, it's good. Okay, I'm doing a bit of that.
Again, not for everyone.
Right.
Some people it can make them quite sick because they need energy in that, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's next time you're on the show, Helena. So you're based in Melbourne. Your website, but your program is sort of accessed by everybody around the world if they get on your website, pureguthealth.com. And Helena Davis, naturopath and gut health expert. That's you.
That is me.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and hopefully you've helped. You've helped me and our listeners to make the right choices this festive period. Thank you, Helena.
Thank you, Pat.